Welcome to Stories from the River. My name is Katrina Batchelor, and I am the Associate Manager of Retail Operations for the South and West regions for Broad River Retail. And today I am joined by Meagan Guzman, who is our Associate Director of the People Operations Department. And we are going to talk about Bradley Rapier and his appearance at the Global Leadership Summit, and kind of just talk about what we took away from his segment. So here we go.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
So Bradley Rapier is an amazing choreographer, performer. I believe he's won some Emmys and really just created this group, the Groovaloos, that have been seen on all sorts of TV shows and everything. You've probably seen him and you don't even know it. You've probably watched him dance it. And he is just really great and inspiring as a leader with the groove theory.
Yeah, so I think I did remember seeing him on So You Think You Can Dance with the Groovaloos. The Ellen show he was on, Dancing with the Stars. So he's definitely an award-winning choreographer, but has done a great job of just teaching leadership skills and offering a different perspective on how to just push past your fears and do what you need to do. So I'm super excited to talk about him today.
I'm so excited to share a little bit about what I took away from Bradley Rapier and his step into the ring theory, the groove theory, as he calls it. As someone who grew up in dance and danced my whole life in ballet, tap, jazz, all of the things, I really resonated with that kind of circle. Like I remember having to do it and being really scared about doing it. And really loved how he spoke about how you can use that in the real world as well, not just in a dance circle, so to speak, and do the hard things, jump in and step into that circle. I think both of us are doing that a little bit today. Would you agree with that?
I do. And I think it was really cool, just in general, having a choreographer there, that brought just a different element and a different type of engagement to the summit as a whole.
Definitely. The dance interlude and making us get up and dance was a little bit fun too. There's a lot of step together clap happening at my table. I don't know about yours, but
Absolutely. So what would you say would be the biggest thing that you took away?
I think for me as a leader and kind of viewing it in a role of getting my team to step into the circle, I took away certain things, mostly about how to kind of approach that with them and let them know that it's a safe space to jump in and help them grow in that way, and be curious, I think was a big thing that he talked about in that as well. So that was something that was really interesting to me.
When he talked about using your voice and being brave and bold and courageous, and it resonated with me because when I'm doing interviews for our retail experience managers, that's one of the things that I talk about every single time is, someone who would be successful in this role would be someone who's not afraid to use their voice. And so that definitely resonated with me. And really just talking about that circle and how he said, inside this circle is where everything's going to happen. You just got to be brave enough to step inside of it.
Yeah, and I think it's important that he also mentioned it's okay to make a mistake when you're inside the circle because no one's really going to notice it. They're only going to notice that you stumbled if you don't make it look like it was part of the move, right? So no one else knows that you maybe messed that up or said the wrong thing or planned to say something different or things along those lines. But, the braveness is in kind of making that stumble part of the motion. So I thought that was really interesting. as well. And I love to hear that you tell everyone when you're interviewing that they need to speak up and use their voice. That's amazing. As someone in the people department, that really means a lot to me. So thanks for sharing that as well.
And he touched on that too. He said, in the circle, we don't prove, we just offer.
Yes.
And sometimes, especially, if you're like me and you're a perfectionist and, you want to get it right all the time, but obviously we don't, and we know we don't, but it can be hard. It can be almost paralyzing to step in when you're not 100% confident that what you have to say would be heard, or that you won't make a complete fool out of yourself. But I really appreciate it. Just get in the circle.
Yeah, I really loved that prove and offer analogy as well. I thought it was something that really makes a lot of sense. I too am a recovering perfectionist, so I understand what you mean in that mindset. It can be really challenging to jump into the ring. I've actually had several leaders in my own life and mentors who have kind of had to push me into the ring because of that perfectionism. So that's why I say I'm recovering. I try really hard to jump into the ring these days, but we're not always successful in that either. But I think sometimes putting that out there and making that offer to everyone, and to use Bradley's words, goes a lot further than some of the fear that we have about it. People probably don't even notice, it's that the old adage of, you think people are judging you or thinking certain things, right? But in reality, they're in their own head. They're probably not even paying attention some of the time. So,
exactly.
just get in there and offer it up and see what they have to say, because maybe that will help them get to a new place or help the organization overall make some new choices and things like that. So it's really kind of interesting, I think, to reframe the mindset into that for sure.
Right. And definitely as a leader, another kind of nugget that stuck out, kind of going along the same lines as what you're saying, is we have to mine for the gold within our teams. So everybody has something to offer. We don't all have the same thought process, and we don't all bring the same thing to the table. But sometimes, you have to pull that kind of out of somebody. So definitely collaborating, building those connections and engaging with your team was another thing that I took away. It just takes one step: engage, unify, and thrive. So just engaging with our team and getting their buy-in, I think, would also help just create such a stronger team aspect, and would definitely make it to where they give more because they feel like they're being heard.
Definitely. I love that you brought up the collaboration aspect of the circle, if you will. That's something obviously at Broad River we value. It's listed as one of our many values. And so it's always important to remember that. So the circle is a place where everybody can kind of share and show and do the things that they feel confident in, but also do the things that maybe they don't. That's what the push into the circle sometimes leads to, right? And as leaders, sometimes we have to make that push, but we want to make sure we make this space and the circle open enough for everyone to want to jump in without necessarily us pushing. But I think that collaboration aspect is really, really important. You feed off of each other, and you learn so much more when you have those types of conversations and open things up and just kind of keep it that way, and have different people from different teams join in the circle too, right? Like, we wouldn't be good at what we do without people doing good things on your end, right? So it's all kind of that similar vibe, I guess, of keeping it in the circle, but bringing everybody into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember our leadership meeting that I attended a few weeks ago kind of really makes me think of his whole point. And I was given the opportunity, someone was there, and, they were like, tell me what your pain points are, and I wasn't going to say anything, because you're slightly intimidated because of their status or their position. And even though you know that you have something to say, and you want to be heard, there's fear in that too, because you don't want to be taken the wrong way. But I was thankful because Will Luke, he gave me the opportunity. He said, now's your chance to talk about your cause. So I kind of just took it and ran with it. And, that reminds me of one of the things he said, that, when we open the circle to our team, not only are we increasing morale, but we're increasing performance, we're building relationships, and we're reuniting the team as a whole and reminding everybody that their voice matters. And so I really appreciated Will giving me the opportunity. And so it really, when I went back and listened to Bradley's segment, just to make sure I got all the nuggets, because I have this book full of notes. And but I wanted to really make sure that I got all of the really good nuggets that he was trying to give us in that short period of time. And it made me think about that meeting that we had, and how much I appreciated him kind of pushing me, here's your chance.
Sure.
Take it.
Yeah. And I mean, what great things came out of that push, right? So I'm sure in the moment you were scared and a little bit nervous to jump in, but once you did, you soared and succeeded and did everything that you wanted to accomplish. So
that's one of the things that I talk about during my interviews as well, is just how much I appreciate the leadership that we have. When you come from a Fortune 100 company and you're one of 28,000 and literally just a number, I'm number 18,357, they don't know you, and they don't know what your goals and your aspirations and your dreams are. And that's just not the case here. I think that our leaders are amazing, and I love how they invest in us and allow us these opportunities like Global Leadership Summit to be able to hear these things and get better as leaders and help the company grow. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think it's a testament to how great they are that they joined us at the Global Leadership Summit, and then they wanted to continue to talk about it, right? Like this is the 9th episode of the podcast related to this various speakers at the summit. And I think that's a huge testimony to how important they think that leadership is, and how important the messages are, not just for the leaders who are able to attend, but for everyone in the organization who may want to learn and grow and develop and get that from them. They're very accessible as leaders. And that's, to your point, not something that you see very often, especially in organizations as they grow and change. It can be challenging for a leader to have that connection with everybody, but trying to maintain that and do the things that they do to keep it so that it feels very personal all the time is a great aspect of the company overall, for sure.
I have a question for you, kind of impromptu question.
All right. Sounds good. Let's do it.
So it was the very first question that I wrote down from his segment. So Bradley's asked, have you ever psyched yourself out from an experience you knew you were meant for? So have you ever psyched yourself out from participating or for doing something that you knew you were good at?
Oh gosh, I think if anyone can answer that question, no, they're superhuman. That's their superpower, I think. But so yes, of course, I have psyched myself out. my background is one, I just moved here. I could have psyched myself out from taking that leap in, I call it a leap in faith, but taking that leap and moving all the way across the country. And there were times when I tried to psych myself out, right? Like moving is hard. I wanted to maybe stop the ball rolling as fast as it was going. But ultimately, the leap was a good one. I joined an amazing company. I can't complain at all. But a time that I psyched myself out, gosh, there's so many of them. At a certain point, I started facing my fears. So it's something that I have challenged myself to do over the last few years. I pick one thing I'm afraid of every year and face it and walk it down. The first one I tried to do, there's this big bridge in San Diego where I'm from called the Coronado Bridge, and it goes across the San Diego Bay. And I was always terrified. I could not drive over it. Like someone else had to drive me, or I would go the long way around to get to where I was going on the island if I needed to. And the first time I tried to face the fear of that bridge, I chickened out and I talked myself out. I said I couldn't do it. I went the long way. So the next time I said, no, you're doing something here. They have a run that goes across the bridge every year to raise money for the Navy that is on the island. And I signed up for that run and I ran across the bridge. I didn't drive it. I didn't give myself a way to get over it in any other way than by my own 2 feet. And at the end of the day, I think that was a wonderful thing. I can drive over it now. So not that I'm going to have to very often, but sometimes you psych yourself out and then you have to push yourself to get through it. How about you? Or what's a time that you had?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mostly in my professional life, I think knowing the direction that I wanted to go, but not 100% sure of what the outcome would be has stopped me so many times. And I remember that there were times that I knew I was qualified for a particular job and it would come open and there would be an opening and I would completely psych myself out from applying because I have to know what the outcome is going to be. I have to be prepared no matter what. And, that imposter syndrome would come in all the time and say, this is for other people. This is not for you. You're good here, down here. So, there have been many times that I did not even apply for a job just because I was afraid of being told no. And then I think finally I was like, I'm almost 40 years old and I'm stuck. Like, and I realized that I was the one holding me back. And so being brave, like he says, being courageous and just hit submit, and it's okay if you're told no, because if you don't even apply, you're told no anyway. Right. So like, what's the worst thing that could happen is that you're told no. And so sometimes I have to remind myself of that. And also, brings me back to just being super thankful for finding Broad River and being able to have leaders who believe in you, believe that you bring value to the table and want to hear what you have to say. And I'm just super appreciative of that. Still deal with it a little bit, but it's getting better, I think.
The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And it's just an amazing thing. It's a challenge for everybody. I think we all go through it, right? Everybody
Right.
has that imposter syndrome at some point. Everyone has that fear at some point. It's all about kind of getting into that groove and stepping into a new groove, perhaps. And that I think is just so challenging, but it seems so simple, right? But I love that story that you shared. So thank you so much for sharing it. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you too. So like you said, this is episode 9 that we have recorded, covering the Leadership Summit for 2025. And we have so much more coming up. So many more
sure
really
do.
good episodes, from talking about our home furnishing experts soiree, and we're definitely in $1 Million Writer season, and we just have so many really good things coming up. Yeah, so I am so looking forward to the next few episodes that we'll be covering, and I had a great time talking to you today, Meagan, about Bradley Rapier and his appearance on the Global Leadership Summit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited for that upcoming podcast celebrating the grand reopening of the Columbia store as well. So,
absolutely, super fun thing to be. I was able to be there, and always exciting when we get to do one of those. So, all right, well, that was another episode of Stories from the River, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. To watch this episode, go to youtube.com/@storiesfromtheriver. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.